Hello family, welcome to this new video from MoonwatchFR. Today, I invite you to discover a second model from the brand Venezianico, with a huge feature on this watch as the bezel is made of scratch-resistant tungsten, if not unbreakable. Above all, stay until the end of the video because I'm going to hit it with a screwdriver. On the bezel, we'll see if it is truly unbreakable. The Venezianico Nereide Tungsten watch is a limited edition dive watch with a scratch-resistant bezel. As incredible as it may seem, this new dive watch from the young Italian brand Venezianico uses a material much more resistant than steel for its rotating bezel. Entirely made of tungsten, this bezel is scratch-resistant, if not unbreakable, unlike ceramic, for example, which can simply break. Once again, this year, Venezianico surprises us with a modern, technical watch that stands out from other dive watches. A few weeks ago, I introduced you to the Venezianico Nereide GMT. Don't hesitate to watch the video if you haven't already, which was the first automatic watch on the market to use the caliber Seiko. Today, with this limited edition, the brand is dynamic and seeks to attract new customers by offering timepieces with impeccable finishes and at prices affordable. Let's look at the specifications of this Venetian tungsten icon. It is a watch that was produced in 2022, more of a men's watch as it is quite heavy. The case is made of stainless steel, while the 120-click unidirectional bezel is made of tungsten. The movement inside is a Swiss automatic movement, a Sellita SW1, which has 26 joules. The watch is water resistant up to 200 meters. In terms of dimensions, it has a diameter of 42 millimeter, a thickness of 12.6 millimeter, making it a relatively thin watch. The bracelet is the same as on the Nereide GMT that I presented to you. It's the bracelet known as Canova, made of stainless steel with several finishes. A second rubber strap is included. The lug width is 22 millimeters. The reference number is Nereide Tungsteno and it features a complication. The date complication is at 3 o'clock. So first of all, the case of this Venezianico Nereide Tungsten measures 42 mm in diameter and 12.6 mm in thickness. This modern dive watch is therefore perfectly suited for a man. The case itself is made of stainless steel, while the 120-click unidirectional bezel is made of tungsten with a mirror finish. This bezel is a marvel. The unidirectional bezels with 220 flawless clicks are of very high quality, providing an ultra-pleasant sensation when used. There is no play at all, which is also quite nice. Returning to the tungsten of the bezel, it is simply the hardest and most resistant metal we currently know. It is a metal with a melting point of 3400 degrees, making it simply the most heat-resistant metal. Additionally, its wear resistance is just as incredible since it is scratch-resistant. It therefore retains its physical and aesthetic characteristics unchanged over the years. Continuing on, there is a signed and screwed crown which allows you to set the time and date. This crown can also be used to wind the Swiss automatic movement. Finally, there is a beautiful case back secured by 6 screws, ensuring water resistance up to 200 meters. The central engraving is nice, and around the edge, you can find several inscriptions that highlight the characteristics of the diving watch. Now, regarding the dial of this Venezianico Nereide Tungsten, it is gray, slate, and sunburst. It's simple. It's a dial that constantly seeks light to play with it. The Venezianico logo is found at 12 o'clock, while the mentioned Neri Movimento Automatico is also present, Tungsteno 20 ATM at 6 o'clock across 4 lines. So, I'm not a huge fan when there's too much text, but here I must admit that this dial is incredibly beautiful. Secondly, we find applied indices to mark each hour, while a fine white railway track distinguishes the minutes. The hands are simple, baton-shaped, and they use the same luminescent product BGW9 neck Super Luminova as the indices, so there's no problem reading the time in the dark. Here, once again, Venezianico has chosen quality. Thirdly, There is a date display at 3 o'clock that is relatively readable considering its size. The font is written in black and stands out very well against the white background. This date display is rather well integrated into the dial. It doesn't feel like it was just placed there because it was needed. It is truly an integral part of the dial. To finish, we will find a sapphire crystal with an anti-reflective coating to protect the dial and the hands. This treatment is of very high quality and significantly reduces reflections due to various light exposures. Here, today, I am with a mix of natural and spotlight lighting, and frankly, there is a very significant reduction in reflections. So Venezianico chose to use a Swiss caliber in this limited edition tungsten. They chose to use a Sellita SW201 caliber in this diving watch. It's a caliber that is robust with a 38-hour power reserve, which is a bit limited nowadays. Now, we are more accustomed to 50 hours and more. Here, it's not even 2 days, it's a bit borderline. The caliber has 26 joules and oscillates at 28,800 beats per hour. As a complication, we find the date here at 3 o'clock. It's a caliber used by many watch manufacturers. These celluloid calibers have the characteristic, in addition to being reliable, of being quite discreet. That is to say, the oscillating weight is not felt at all during sudden movements. So just like the Venezianico Nereide GMT, which I have already presented to you in a video, this watch Nereide Tungsten uses the superb Canova bracelet, developed and designed especially for the young Italian brand. This bracelet, which mixes polished satin and mirror finishes, is comfortable and fits perfectly on the wrist. By the way, it's important for me to point out that there is no micro adjustment on the double butterfly clasp, which is marked with the Venezianico cross. But this isn't necessarily a problem because the links are not very large. So by removing a link, you can really adjust the bracelet perfectly. Look, even when fitting it to the max, the bracelet has very little play and it fits perfectly, this bracelet. Another detail, a second rubber strap is provided with the Venezianico Tungsten. It is characterized by the alternation of sinuous shapes and the pyramidal geometry that outlines the central part. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of this rubber strap. I much prefer this Canova, which I find to be very elegant. It should also be noted that this Canova bracelet is not equipped with a quick-release spring bar. However, the lug width is 22 mm, which will allow you to change the bracelet quite easily, even though specific tools will be needed to remove the steel bracelet. Well, let's be honest. With 2 small screwdrivers, you'll be able to take it apart. Obviously, do the inside by taping it to avoid scratches, as one might expect. The tungsten bezel, combined with the Canova bracelet, really adds weight to the watch. It's impossible to forget you're wearing a watch. This watch is very, very heavy, but it still remains extremely comfortable to wear. Honestly, I love the reflections of this mirror tungsten bezel along with the Canova bracelet. I think it looks really impressive. So the watch, the Venezianico, comes in a white cardboard box embossed with the Venezia logo. The interior of the box is lined with a small grey suede. In the upper part of the box, you'll find all the papers and manual, as well as a map of the city of Venice, just like it was with the GMT from the same brand. Personally, I love these kinds of little extras. I find it nice. It doesn't cost much to make, and it's quite original. The watch itself is showcased on a cushion. Presentation. The whole setup is neat and tidy, worthy of a fine watchmaking brand. I also wanted to show you the Venezianico booklet because it is very, very beautiful. It is very well made. Inside, you will find various information about the brand's history, the creation of different models, the choice of calibers used. It's well done. It's not very thick, it reads very well. It's quite rare to have a manual well made for this. I wanted to highlight the price of this limited edition diving watch, limited to 350 pieces. The launch price is set at €715, starting from August 25th, before increasing to €895 if there are any pieces left. As always with Venezianico, this price is aggressive and attractive. Given the specifications of the watch, there is no doubt that this tungsten edition is likely to sell out quite quickly. The previous versions, limited editions, also sold out in just a few hours. And this one, given how amazing it is, there's a good chance it will be the same. It is unlikely, by the way, that you will find any pieces on the secondary market, but if it were to happen, you should know that you won't make money, as the selling price won't necessarily decrease. I think you understood that from my previous video where I presented the Nereide GMT. For me, Venezianico is a brand that leaves me astonished. This year, I find that they are quite strong. I was pleasantly surprised by this Venezianico Nereide Tungsten on the bezel. A real difference as soon as you have the watch in hand. You feel a huge difference, a difference in weight. I want to say, well, since the beginning of the video, I've been telling you that it's genuine. We're going to try to see if that's really the case. So how am I going to go about testing the reliability? Here I have a small flathead screwdriver, quite sharp. By the way, I'll try not to nick my finger because every time I cut my thumb. So what I'm going to do now is simply scratch the bezel quite hard. And then I'll show you by zooming in to see if it's still intact. I hope the bezel won't budge. Because if it does, ouch, then I'm in trouble. My watch will be ruined. Let's wipe off the fingerprints a little. Damn, it's awesome. No kidding, it's huge. I love this material. It's true that it's quite heavy, however, there's not a scratch on it. Can you go for it? Honestly, it's tip top. Immaculate, it's just great. So I invite you to try it on your Oleg GMT Master. That way we can compare, guys, and I'm not trolling. Don't come busting my chops about the GMT Master Stew. In any case, this tungsten watch, it exudes robustness. Honestly, it's a diving watch. I find it great, hence the reliability of the bezel. We only have beautiful materials. The young Italian brand Venezia. Nico, honestly, it's innovative. Tungsten bezels, Canova bracelet, use of calibers as a premiere, and more. Today, it is one of the European watch brands that develops and offers the most new products. By the way, I'm giving a little spoiler, Citano, but I know because I follow them on Facebook. They are in the process of developing a kind of rubber strap, an integrated bracelet, which is just a little marvel. I can't wait to have it so I can put it on my tungsten. With this sunburst dial and this scratch-resistant mirror bezel, this limited edition constantly plays with light while maintaining excellent readability during the day. As at night, so obviously there will be some disappointed since only 350 pieces will be produced and sold starting from August 25th. So there you have it, family. I hope you enjoyed this little review. Feel free to leave me a comment on what you think of this watch. If you were aware of the interesting properties of tungsten, I will personally respond. As usual, remember to subscribe, family. It makes me happy. It allows me to have better visibility on YouTube and to offer you even more reviews. And with that, I'll see you soon in another video. Bye, family.